As someone who's a recovering over collector and keeper, I have 9 little mind-blowing hacks to help you be okay with living with less. These are tiny steps you can take that could make a really big impact on your quality of life, and that living with less could save you money. You have to spend less time worrying about your stuff, tidying up after yourself, and it just opens your life to so many possibilities. And these are just little tweaks that have genuinely worked for me and been kind of life-changing, honestly. And so I'm really excited to share these with you in case you're anything like me and have a history of just having too much stuff. Okay, this first one is really specific, but it's helped me so much in reducing that itch for something new and shopping. And it's to have fewer socks. Once you declutter the sock drawer, the rest of your closet will start to become more manageable. And let me explain why. Basically, when I have fewer socks, it forces me to do laundry more often because socks are things that get smelly pretty quickly. You don't really want to re-wear them. And at least for me, I always want fresh, clean socks every day. But if I have a bunch of backup spare socks, the ones that are maybe a little bit holey or don't fit right and are uncomfortable that you force yourself to wear when you're kind of low on laundry, those kinds of socks encourage you to put off laundry, to not do laundry as often, and then in general, you need more shirts, you need more pants, you need more of all the categories so that you can do laundry less frequently. But what I found is that when I have fewer socks, my desire for fresh socks takes over my inherent laziness, gets me to do even just a small load of laundry, and then I have a bunch of clean laundry, which then in turn helps me like my clothes more. And I'll add this as part of this hack, even if the socks tactic doesn't work for you, just committing to doing your laundry more often helps you like your current closet more. When you have clean, fresh clothes that are appealing to put on, you're not as likely to go out wanting new clothes. If you feel like your clothes feel good, you just don't want new as much. Which, believe me, is kind of groundbreaking because historically I've always had that desire for something new. So try that out and see if it makes a difference. A second strategy I've used is to use your favorites instead of saving them for later. And this one again can apply especially to your wardrobe, but it can also apply to other categories. Like when I was a kid, I often received the gift of like a fresh, beautiful journal that was blank that I could write in. And I loved those gifts. I thought it was a great way to get me writing, to get my thoughts on paper. But every time I got a new one, especially if it was one that I really loved, I refused to write in it. I felt like I needed to save it for that time when I had better thoughts or better ideas to put down on paper. And so I had this pile of blank journals that I never touched. And I also ended up growing into an adult with a bunch of blank journals. I also see this tendency come out with my clothing. So often I want to save my favorite pieces to not get them stained or to not overuse them, but then I never end up reaching for my favorites. And what happens is then again, I'm tempted to buy more clothes so that I have backup clothes from my favorites so I don't have to wear my favorites too often and overuse them. And then I end up needing backups to the backups. And ultimately, by always wearing the backup clothes or the clothes I don't like, I end up feeling less satisfied with my wardrobe. And then I again have more of a desire to go out and to buy new clothes. But in contrast, more recently, I've started just wearing my favorite clothing items, even if I'm just hanging around the house. If they're comfortable and I also really like them and I think they're pretty, I just wear them. And honestly, I feel so much better. I feel more confident in my own skin. I enjoy my wardrobe more. And overall, again, that desire to get new things just is curbed a little bit. A third one is to recognize when you're keeping something based on a what if. So often, implicitly, my brain makes these leaps when I'm thinking about decluttering something. I think, oh, but what if there's a day where the weather is perfect for this type of jacket and I want to have this as an option? Or what if I regret decluttering this bowl later because it might have a specific use? Or what if I forget this nostalgic memory because I let this piece of memorabilia go? But so often, those what ifs drive us to engage in behaviors that aren't really consistent with our values. They compel us to keep more when we don't really want to live with that much more, and having so much extra stuff and lots of extra storage just bogs us down. It weighs us down. It makes it harder to do the things in life that we want to do. We're sacrificing freedom for the sake of storage and stuff. And so recognizing that what ifs is a real thing and it's a trap I think a lot of us, including me, fall into can be helpful in bringing more values-based living into the picture when you're decluttering or going through your stuff. A fourth little one is to regularly unsubscribe from email lists. Go through your email even mindlessly while you're doing something else like watching TV or whatever, and click on emails that you normally throw in trash or whatever, and scroll to the bottom and hit unsubscribe. But I think that getting emails in your inbox, first of all, clutters up your mailbox, but it's also that perfect trigger to shop, especially if they have a great sale going on or they have a specific product that feels perfect for you. So even if it's a store you love and you might miss out on a sale here or there, you might end up saving a lot of time, energy, and money if you just unsubscribe a little bit more regularly. A fifth little hack is to declutter one bag or box worth of stuff a week. And this is just a doable way of integrating decluttering regularly into your life so that it becomes a seamless part of your week to part with some of your objects. Basically, sometimes I get overwhelmed to do a really formalized multi-hour declutter, but it feels less intimidating to set a goal of I only need to get rid of this amount of volume worth of stuff each week. It's a way to gradually be decluttering throughout the week, or if at the end of the week you haven't really done any decluttering, get you to get back on top of it and to get rid of some stuff. Sometimes I'll just keep a basket or a box or even a garbage bag in a corner of some closet, and that way it's easily accessible. I know where to put something when I need to declutter it, and then at the end of the week I can go through the box or bag and just make sure everything's going to the right place. But in the moment during the week when I come across that object, I don't need to make the full plan for the object right then. I can just put it in that spot and deal with it later. And the nice thing about this strategy is that at the end of the month, then you have like 4 or 5 boxes worth of stuff that you have eliminated from your space. And that ends up being quite a bit. A sixth hack is to borrow when you're only going to use something once. So especially for things like clothing for wedding, outfits for that, or other one-off events, you can choose to rent online or even borrow from a friend instead of purchasing. I know this one feels obvious, but so often even I am still just tempted to buy a new thing for an event. And I just agree to myself at this point in life, I'm never going to buy something if it truly is going to be a one-time thing. Now, if I somehow find the perfect dress that I love and I know there are numerous weddings or numerous events that I'll wear it to, I will purchase it. But if not, if it is not clear as day that I'm going to use this belonging more than one time, I need to go back to the drawing board and just check, are there other options? Do I already have something that could work for this situation? Consider your options and stop yourself before you buy something that you're only going to use one time. Another strategy is to set aside time to declutter. Schedule it in. Figure out a time when you actually have the time and energy to do the work of decluttering. Because I know historically, so often I would say, oh, I'm going to declutter on Tuesday night. I'm free that night. But then when Tuesday night comes, it was after a really long, hard work day and I don't feel like decluttering and I give up on it and I put it off and I never get around to it. So I think that scheduling decluttering sessions into your week at times when you know you're well fed, you're well slept, you have the energy, you're going to be in a good headspace, that makes such a difference in actually getting to the declutter and prioritizing it in your life. Because let's be honest, honestly, I think the biggest barrier people experience in having so much stuff is just not having the time or the energy, or essentially the finances to have the time or the energy to do the decluttering. Like, it truly is an issue sometimes of privilege and of just having the resources to have the time to do it. And so sometimes you have to be very strategic and to really think out, when am I reasonably going to be able to do this? And maybe I need to put it off a little bit. Maybe practicality wise, I need to wait and just do one declutter a month or something. That's what's going to work in my life right now. But if we don't schedule it in, then month after month, it'll just fall by the wayside and not happen. An eighth strategy I've used is to know your shopping triggers and to create barriers to shopping in a way that's informed by those triggers. It might involve just getting off your phone a little bit more or learning to integrate social activities with friends that don't involve shopping. Or maybe when you're kind of bored or down, you need to figure out some other thing that you enjoy doing during that time that's distracting, that allows you to unwind without shopping. And ninth and final strategy is to fill your life up with what you love or what's meaningful to you. I'm not saying get busier. I'm not saying pack up your schedule so that you're constantly doing things and you're never distracted or you never have the time to relax and scroll on your phone and shop. What I'm saying instead is if you're filling up your life in meaningful ways, if you're enjoying yourself, if you're enriching your life, if you're growing in the ways that you want to be growing and you feel fulfilled in sort of a deeper sense, I honestly think that more superficial itch to shop reduces over time because you're deriving joy and meaning from things that actually make you happier. And so this is about looking at your life in a bigger picture sense and thinking about, what am I missing? What do I wish I had more of? What do I currently engage with that does fill me with joy and meaning that I could capitalize on and do more of? You know, if you're not happy in your job, is there something you could do to make a change, to make it more enjoyable? If you feel lonely, what are communities you could join where you might meet people or make friends? I think so often we use shopping and collecting and keeping as a way to distract from feeling like we're missing something in the big picture of life. It's like a way to focus on the here and now and not on the big stuff. But ultimately, that's a form of avoidance, and it's not going to lead us to be happy in the long run. And honestly, I say this like I have it all figured out. I'm still working on this. I still sometimes use scrolling and shopping as a way to avoid reality. Let's be honest. But I am trying to build more meaningful building blocks into my life where I can. And I think that brings me more deep joy and happiness than a little bit of shopping ever will. I also honestly think as part of this, trying something new, like a skill you've always wanted to try, learning a new instrument, or joining a club on a topic you've always kind of secretly been interested in but have never dabbled in, I think it can really help fill up your days and make you feel less of that desire to have more. Anyway, let me know if any of you have little hacks or strategy for being good with living with less. I'd love to hear them because I'm still on this journey. I'm still learning too. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button. I say it all the time, but it truly is one of the best ways you can directly support this channel, and it only takes a moment, so if you'd be willing to do that, I'd really appreciate it. And you can also hit the subscribe button below to support the channel and to get more videos on simple living, minimalism, and building an empowering mindset. Anyway, thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!